instead of having to rely on the police, which obviously isn't working, we're just not going to let these blacks into our neighborhood, and we're going to enforce it with violence. And you say it's horrific, but what I think is horrific is just some hardworking Mexicans, and they're, you have this hardworking Mexican dad coming home with some food. He's walking home, for Christ's sake, and there's some feral black people end up shooting him, and they just want to stop their community from being preyed on.
Pepe literally just made that up. He has no evidence for that, right? That's not what happened. The reason why Hispanics became, first of all, you got to understand, in Hispanic culture in Latin America, there's already an anti-black sentiment. They have something called la raza, which means improving the race, right? You literally say in Spanish that mixing with white people is improving the race. So actually,
how was that a lie?
Hold on. It's about territory, right? So as Hispanic populations begin to grow and the Mexican mafia begin to grow in large numbers and gangs begin to grow, they wanted more territory. And so they began to say that black people had to get out of neighborhoods, and they started to squat up. You also had a motherfucking Mexican army that was coming over, posing as gangs, doing teaching gangs paramilitary tactics to ethnically cleanse black people out of their communities.
The Mexican military trained these people? Is that what your claim is?
They had paramilitary officers from the Mexican military, yes, that taught gangs, that would join gangs and teach gangs paramilitary tactics to ethnically cleanse.
La Raza is going the next level. Oh my God!
You also had the Latin. You also had the Mexican mafia that called for, and we know the Mexican mafia is heavy. And the cartels, the Mexican mafia.
No, the cartels aren't the Mexican. The Mexican mafia is La M. It's La M. Okay, and they roll over the Sureños, they're not from Mexico. They're Mexican Americans, and they run the prisons in Mexico, and they call the shots for all of the southern Hispanic gangs.
The Mexican mafia called for the ethnic cleansing of black people out of black neighborhoods, right? Said, look, our numbers are growing and expanding. We're going to ethnically cleanse, and we're going to take over their territory. So this was what this was about. Partly it was about drug money, and then it worked its way up over time when it wasn't about gang shit. It made its way out of the gang culture. And it made its way into everyday life, where everyday Mexicans, hardworking Mexicans, right?
Yeah, but black people never do anything wrong. Okay.
When you had hardworking Mexicans, right, who were discriminated against black people in hiring, and then even going as far as terrorizing black people on the workforce. Again, I'm going to put all the evidence in the chat to back up my statement.
I know it's bullshit because
I'm going to put the evidence in. I'm going to put the evidence in the chat. It's not bullshit. You'll see it for yourself. Before you call something bullshit, find out if it's true or not.
Hold on. You're gonna mute yourself. You're gonna find the mute button, or I'll find it for you. Thank you. Here's the issue. When people say that something's 100% fact, and then they say that they're going to post something in the chat, really what they're going to post, I guarantee you that what's going to get posted is going to be an opinion piece. But feel free to bring these things. That'll be fine.
No opinion pieces, sir.
Hey, why don't you let me finish speaking? I didn't speak. I'm just gonna weigh in here and just say that I would bet that whatever you post is going to be an opinion piece. I don't think that, sir, with all due respect, I don't think you're an expert on the Mexican mafia.
No shit, yeah.
I mean, the Mexican mafia.
I just find it kind of funny. You had nothing to say. You had nothing to say when he was asking black people why aren't we out there protesting.
I wasn't claiming to be an expert in the Mexican mafia. I'm only speaking to the fact that the Mexican mafia called for the ethnic cleansing of black people.
They didn't call for it. The Mexican mafia is nothing more. Okay, Jesus Christ, when you go to prison, okay, just like how you have the Sureños, you have the Norteños, you have the Fresno Bulldogs, you have all of the different cars that people have to roll in fucking prison, and then you have in Arizona, it's rather similar, except for we have Paisas and Chicanos instead of Norteño, Sureño. Now, what you're stating is that, okay, Southern Hispanic gangs, which are largely not people of Mexican, they're not Mexican nationals. In other words, these are people that are generally more than one generation American. These people control the Southern Hispanic gangs. The reason why there's even a Norteño versus Sureño is very similar to Arizona, where it's Chicano versus Paisa. The Paisas, the people born in Mexico, they largely were the fruit pickers in Northern California. The Mexican Americans did not get along with the Mexican nationals. It exists to this day, but obviously it's kind of evolved. These people are not. They have. I mean, I'm not going to say they don't have ties to Mexican cartels. I'm sure they do when it comes to dealing drugs and shit. But these are not. This is not like a mafia that comes from Mexico. It's just fucking asinine.
I don't care about that.
Who fucking cares, Pepe? All I simply said was the Mexican mafia. The Mexican mafia call for the ethnic cleansing of Black Americans out of their communities. I don't give a fuck about their history or their dynamics. That's irrelevant to me.
No, they didn't, because if that was the truth, you guys wouldn't be
really relevant to the
Mexican mafia and Mexican cartels wanted to clean
I'm
out
putting
some
all
of
the evidence in the chat. People in the audience, you can look at it for yourself. I already put one link in. I'm going to put more in.
And not only are these Latinos biased in Southern, they're biased in Northern California as well. Bullying my poor baby because she was Black. That's sad. I can't go out and protest with some Mexicans.
Can I ask you a question? Where are your parents from? I mean, I don't want to be a colorist, but I'm just looking at your photo. If that's you, it screams African unmixed.
Why does it matter what I am?
Because I mean, it's very different when somebody whose family flies here. They somehow insert themselves into the struggles.
Like that.
Yes, I am going to, because you're inserting yourself. I'm not gonna go. No.
Who I am.
I'm not gonna go to Serbia.
Can you assist this guy? So
you're an African. That's why you're doing it. Amazing.
No.
I'm not going to go to Serbia and claim the plight of the Bosnians.
Okay.
It's not going to happen. Because I'm not one of their people.
Look, Pepe, you claim to be white when you're not white.
I am half
PTR.
Nigerian, and I'm half Black American.
You look even more looking at PTR.
I don't look Arabic. You're fucking
You're Arabic, man.
He looks like an Italian Joey. That's what he looks like.
He looks Arabic. He doesn't look Italian. He looks like an Arabic Egypt.
Looks like an Italian Joey that I used to go to school
Oh,
with.
amazing.
Wait, Arabic's a language, not a never fucking.
But yeah, so I
Don't
mean,
you ever try to tell me who you think I am.
you're not an African American. You're literally somebody of African descent LARPing as a fucking FBA.
You don't know what I am, fool.
I have a question for the room. Anyone can answer. Sorry, I muted myself. Anyone can answer this question, though. If you could be born of any gender, race, born in any country, any sexual orientation, I'd love to hear what people would want to be born as. If they had control over it, where would you want to be born, and what would your identity be?
White street male, so I can piss off people.
Straight white man, USA. Simple answer.
Yep.
I'd like to be born as specifically the Duke of Wellington, who managed to wind up Prime Minister of Great Britain during the Napoleonic Wars and was a strategic genius.
First thing to look at is the cut. This one, the texture is really.
I don't want to see who want to be.
Wait, hold on. Somebody with the name of Ninja Coolies says Black American male. So I think that's interesting because I've been led to believe on this app that is a description of people that have it really bad. And so I'd love for ninja poolies to come up here and talk.
Whatever. I agree. I wouldn't change a thing. It's not one thing. Like, if anybody would say they would change what they got,
Ninja.
I don't care. I'm not talking. I don't care what we've been through, how hard we got it. I love being me. I wouldn't change it for nothing.
This one has a glass on glass.
That's wonderful.
And this one has a little stopper. The glass on glass connection is much harder to do. Also, look.
I think I'd be born Chinese.
So beautifully. I bet this is a really
Chinese man.
nice crystal. But
Sweet Chinese man.
There's really only one metric.
If we're talking now.
Hilarious.
Wait, look at all these rainbows in this thing.
Yeah, but you're gonna be a minute, man. You ain't gonna have no pump.
Which is how much?
No, I'm gonna be a tall Chinese. It'd be like the fucking Shine.
I love how this black guy is still LARPing as a fucking white
store for only $12. I'm gonna turn into this glass bag and sell it for
It's gonna be a
$12.
minute, man.
After buying it from this thrift store, I noticed how beautiful the crystal is.
I like how they go to fucking
$420.
I love how you say Popeye. This only black people.
Popeye.
I have to use a lot of
I'd like to change my answer. I would not like to be born in the Duke of Wellington. I would like to be Rohan because I'd be Australian and therefore
I
cool.
gather up some glass. I make what's called a collar. I open up the kiln, or Pam does. I stab up the what was once a bottle.
By the way, Rand, I would say the reason people can kind of tell if someone's black, regardless of their accent, it's
torch up there by the neck.
the reverberations that you see through your sinus cavities and your nose are, and black people.
Where are you from?
Well, no, black people.
Where are you from?
I already told you.
No. Where are you really from?
Yeah,
Born in DC and raised in Arizona.
Where are you from, baby?
I'm from America. So
No, you're not. You're not from here.
okay, yeah, I'm foreign. I sound like a foreign person. Amazing.
Oh,
Yeah, with that being said, you know your nose and your sinuses keep your voice.
Where you from, baby?
I already told you.
No, where you from?
In the morning, it looks like this. Honestly, I'm a little confused.
I am
about this.
just astonished that Rocker hasn't.
I found this crystal bottle at a thrift store for only $12. I'm going to turn it into this glass bag and sell it for $1,200. After buying it from this thrift store, I noticed how beautiful the crystal is. After a little research, I learned it's from...
My client wanted a refund because my skin...
I make these glass bags, but they all have the same problem. There's too much stuff going on. Giant spikes, crazy...
So yes, I'm putting
just
the
too much
evidence in
stuff.
the chat.
Sometimes you just need it all to stop. Have something simple. Clear bag. No frills, no bits, no
as it
colors,
relates to
small design, big design. I want to go out
ICE,
and a couple little things.
people that I know, different places around the country, marching. But again, they're marching for all of us. They're marching against fascism. They're marching for due process. And they're marching for their rights. They're marching for Americans and
Can you describe question? Can you describe what the job description of ICE is?
This is called a door opener.
Whatever their job description is, people.
I was asking. Hold on. The question. Listen. The question was, can you describe what it is?
People who are going through the process of citizenship. So ICE is, they are supposed to, well, it's changed, right? Because ICE was established after 9/11. Yes.
I'm going to do it, so now I don't need to just use
Let's
the
do a
fact.
deep dive on ISIS and how it came to be, so that we can suss this out. I do know that there is a legal process in this country for deportations, for immigration. I know there's a legal process for all of these things, and I know that right now,
There should also be a legal process for hopping out of an unmarked van, wearing civilian clothing, holding AR-51s and masks, and pulling people into a car and driving away. That's, I believe, kidnapping.
I heat that up and squish it together. Anyway, so yeah, Alexander, but I see the exchange that you have. I roll up that marini. I make sure the edges are aligned just right, so no seam. I integrate it into another layer of clear glass it sounds to me like you know why some people
so we gotta get
are not participating.
Now we have to put it in a jack line and then squish it with
the shit. So I feel like you're
pattern is coming out so nice. I drill a hole with my toes.
Wait, hold on. Did you think that my question was in bad faith when I asked you what the job description of ICE employees are?
Yeah, I do, because they can do their job and still respect the
look at this. Look how good it looks. It's really coming out. It's got
who have due process rights as well.
And there it is. That's how you
their job description is not to
I gotta make this bag
take away
transparent black with clear spikes.
Can you read to me?
This is the transparent black.
Can you read to me what their job description is? Please, somebody.
Does that include
Blow it up, add a punty to it. This is a sculpture because it's a
here's the thing, right?
A little bit of water,
and this is a problem for all of you, that you're picky and choosy about when you want to push back on authoritarianism from the government. If you guys had the same smoke for government every time you overstep, we wouldn't have half of these problems. But because you're so selective with it, we have all of these problems.
Wait, when's the last time that government officials in civilian clothing brandishing rifles were throwing people into unmarked vans and deporting them?
And another punty, little water on the neckline, and a little tap that breaks it off. This is a trick.
Oh, hold on, I got a board. I'll talk to you guys later.
A ream, a squat, a lunge, and a deep ream. Now that the bag is done, it's time for me to add the clear spikes. Alex brings over some glass, squish it, stretch it, and cut.
Chasing people down fucking
Let's add like 50
car washes and shit. Like what?
The stretch.
What happened to
y'all
learning now. Y'all ran around for years saying that Black Americans have a victim mindset and that we're just complainers and always complaining. They used to be on the radio here. They all the time, Hispanics. We're complainers. We have a victim mindset. We make excuses. We blame the white man, and we just listen to these motherfuckers. And now they look at.
No, I mean you're still all of those things. We're not complaining. We're complaining.
No, you are. You are, Alexander. Your people are. Listen, Alexander.
Complaining. Complaining for 300.
They're on the radio station. They're on the radio. No, they said exactly. They said we were complaining too much. They said we complain too much. We whine too much. So there it is. So all right, we're not complaining now. We're gonna do exactly what Hispanics told us to do. Stop complaining. So we're not complaining now. We're doing exactly what you guys told us not to do.
Reparations.
What do you mean not yet? We've never not been. Listen, hold on. Alexander, we have never been number one. We've always been number one on this country. We are the main dish. You are the side dishes. White supremacy.